No weight class. Before we had all these weight divisions, the UFC didn't even have a weight class. Dana White originally intended to create a fighting championship for everyone, regardless of size or weight. Take UFC 1 as an example, the very first fight in UFC history. The smaller guy was Gerard Gordeau, a Savate fighter weighing 216 pounds, going up against a sumo wrestler named Taylor Tooley, who weighed over 410 pounds. The result? The big guy got kicked once, and he was done. This fight was brutal. No mouthguard, no fighting gloves. In fact, there were no rules, no scorecards, not even a time limit. You could literally end someone's life in a fight like that. That's why the UFC started creating weight classes and added rules. They began by dividing fighters into heavyweight and lightweight divisions. Strawweight. Strawweight is the lightest weight class in the UFC, set at 115 pounds, and it's exclusive to female fighters. Despite being the smallest division, it's produced some of the fiercest fights. Notable fighters include Zhang Weili, the first Chinese UFC champion, and also Shi Ming, who went viral for knocking out her opponent with a powerful kick. What's crazy is, Shi Ming is a strawweight fighter and also a practicing doctor. Her parents back in China don't even know she's a UFC fighter. Flyweight. The flyweight division is set at 125 pounds and is the first weight class to feature both male and female fighters. Unlike the heavier divisions, where raw strength plays a big role, flyweight bouts focus on technique, agility, and precision. But here's the thing, do you even know most of these guys? Probably not, no offense. That's because they're not that iconic. Well, except for one man, Demetrius Johnson, aka Mighty Mouse, widely considered one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. He was UFC flyweight champ for nearly 6 years and set a record with 11 straight title defenses. His game was complete, clinch work, submissions, intelligent striking, but the division started to feel empty when DJ left the UFC for one championship. A big reason? He was underpaid and underappreciated. Imagine this, CM Punk, with zero MMA background, got $500,000 in his second fight just because he was popular, and the UFC literally traded Mighty Mouse for some guy named Ben Askren. I mean, really? DJ wasn't flashy, didn't trash talk, so Dana White just threw him away. No wonder the division lost its shine. Bantamweight. The bantamweight division is set at 135 pounds, and it's one of the most competitive and dramatic divisions in MMA. Dominic Cruz dominated the early era with unorthodox footwork and insane defensive movement. He held the belt for years and was almost impossible to hit clean, but injuries derailed his reign. Then we had TJ Dillashaw, who became a two-time champ, though his legacy got stained after a doping scandal. Aljamain Sterling made history by winning the belt due to a disqualification when Petr Yan landed an illegal knee. Now we've got rising star Umar Nurmagomedov, cousin of Khabib, and we all know how scary Dagestani fighters are. He was once undefeated, but then came Merab Dvalishvili, who humbled him. This guy has relentless cardio and the highest takedown rate in UFC history, even breaking GSP's record. Moral of the story, just because you've got Nurmagomedov in your name doesn't mean you are Khabib. Featherweight. Featherweight is set at 145 pounds, and it's also the heaviest division where women compete. It's produced stars like Alexander Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria, but the most legendary moment, Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor. That fight made the UFC what it is today. Aldo was the undefeated king, dominating for nearly a decade. Then came McGregor. In 2015, he knocked out Aldo in 13 seconds, the fastest title fight KO in UFC history. That moment skyrocketed him to superstardom and planted the first seeds of McGregor's legendary arrogance. Lightweight. The lightweight division, set at 155 pounds, is the one that made the UFC explode in popularity. Why, one name, Khabib Nurmagomedov, the biggest legend in this division, maybe in all of UFC. He retired undefeated with a 29-0 record. He dominated everyone, especially Conor McGregor. And what made him even more iconic? He was just some dude from Dagestan. Nobody took him seriously at first. People were like, Khabib's got holes in his game. Conor might whoop his ass. Only a few, like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, made an accurate prediction. If he catches you, you suffer, and he makes you give up in a way that looks bad. And Khabib did beat up McGregor, choked him out, then jumped into the crowd and fought McGregor's team, causing a full-blown riot. Even Mike Tyson said Khabib's riot was crazier than his ear-biting incident. After Khabib retired, his friend Islam Makhachev carried the torch. He's now the best pound-for-pound fighter. We've also got Charles Oliveira, the submission machine with the most finishes in UFC history, Justin Gaethje, a brawler who goes to war every fight, and of course Tony Ferguson, a very unique character, maybe a little too unique, but still awesome. Welterweight. The welterweight division is set at 170 pounds, the first jump over 10 pounds. First thing that comes to mind, Ben Askren, the guy UFC traded for Mighty Mouse. His fight with Jorge Masvidal ended in just 5 seconds. Fastest KO in UFC history. Then there's Georges St-Pierre, arguably the greatest fighter from this division, complete, calm, dominant. He barely lost a round, but he retired in 2019 due to health issues. Now, we've got Bilal Muhammad, clean, respectful, does charity work, but still, a lot of fans hate him. Some blame Islamophobia in MMA circles, but many say it's because he's boring, winning by decision too often. What do you think? And then there's Khamzat Chimaev, the undefeated beast who rose from this division. He moved up to middleweight and smashed Robert Whittaker, breaking his jaw with freestyle wrestling. Middleweight. Middleweight is set at 185 pounds. This division's had some of the most dominant champs and rivalries. First, Anderson Silva, aka the Spider, one of the all-time greats, insane reflexes, ridiculous finishes. He held the belt for nearly 7 years, like the longest reign in UFC history. Then came Israel Adesanya, the last style bender. Anime fan, striking genius, king of the division, until he ran into his old kickboxing rival, Alex Pereira, who knocked him out and took the belt. But Izzy got his revenge in the rematch with a brutal KO, one of the most exciting rivalries in MMA. Honorable mention, Yoel Romero, a freak of nature, took head kicks like it was nothing. It's like his soul left his body and came back stronger. Light heavyweight, set at 205 pounds, is the second heaviest division. We've got Jiri Prochazka, a wild, unpredictable striker who became champ but had to vacate due to injury. Then came Alex Pereira, who moved up from middleweight and took the title with his insane power and deadly kicks. But the most iconic name in this division, Jon Jones, now a heavyweight, but back then the youngest champ ever at 23. Insane reach, elite striking, top tier wrestling, controversial, yeah, eye pokes, legal issues, you name it. And let's not forget his archenemy, Daniel Cormier, double champ and wrestling monster. Khabib even said, "I can't submit that guy." Heavyweight, and finally we reach the top. Heavyweight capped at 265 pounds. We've got Francis Ngannou, the hardest puncher ever recorded. Getting hit by him means lights out. He's doing boxing now too. Then there's Tom Aspinall, the chill British fighter who currently holds Jon Jones's belt but is interim champ. To be the real champ, he's got to beat Jon. Problem is, Jon Jones barely fights. Huge gaps between bouts, plus his controversies. At 3 a.m., he went live on Instagram saying he wanted to kill someone. He's been involved in drugs, threatened officers. Basically, this GOAT's real life is full of chaos, kind of like Mike Tyson's back in the day.